Hello, I'm Kurt Kolosinski. I'm the author of Physical Chemistry, How Chemistry Works. In this video, I'd like to introduce you to my book, a few features, and a few study techniques that should help your learning. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who has contributed to this book. They are noted in the preface. You'll see that a number of people are thanked not only for providing content, but also for sending me comments and pointing out typos and places where my text was unclear or even in error. I'd really like to encourage you to email me with comments and suggestions. Next, I'd like to point out that this book is supported by a companion website, and I update this at least annually. There, you'll find a link to related resources. Clicking on this link, you'll see that there is a student companion site. This companion site contains guides to the directed practice problems. I'll talk more about those in a minute. Opening the book, you'll find that each chapter begins with a preview of important concepts. Start your reading of each chapter by looking over this preview. It's also good to return to the preview after you finish the chapter. Do all the concepts sound familiar now? Do you feel you understand them and why I selected them as important? You should also return to the preview of important concepts before an exam for review. If you have a study partner, use the preview to quiz each other. Maybe get inventive. Ask each other questions based on these concepts. Try to make up exam questions that these concepts would answer, or turn them into questions in the style of your favorite game show. At the end of every chapter, you'll find a summary of important equations. These are the equations that you need to perform problem solving. Notice something about equations. They are typeset with variables in italics, just the same as words from a foreign language. Indeed, you should think of mathematics as a language that you need to learn. And just like words can have multiple meanings, mathematical variables can have multiple meanings that depend on context. Thus, in the equations above, V can mean either the vibrational quantum number or the velocity. And uppercase m is the molar mass, while lowercase m is the mass of an individual molecule. Just because temperature or pressure has a certain letter, like P for pressure, that doesn't mean that any equation with P is the one you need. Make sure you understand the context of the equation you are choosing to understand what the variables mean. Now let's return to those entries called directed practice. In each chapter, you'll find several entries that look like the following. Learning physical chemistry is not a spectator sport. You can't just look at the page and absorb the knowledge. You need to ingrain the subject matter you've just read into your brain by stopping to think occasionally, as well as putting it into practice. That's what these directed practices are meant to do. Get you to stop, think, and use the information that you just read. Most of them are followed by the answers in square brackets. They're also there to get you in the habit of stopping and assessing your understanding. In other words, get in the habit of making your own directed practice. You will also find complete worked answers to each directed practice in the student companion site. As I mentioned above, I update this site regularly, and there are many more directed practices on the website than in the book to provide you with extra practice. To any instructors who are watching this, if you are interested in process-oriented, guided inquiry learning, or POGIL, directed practices or variations on them can be used for this. You should also notice that the book is littered with hundreds of drawings and figures that I've spent hours and days creating. Learn to sketch ideas. A picture is not only worth 1,000 words, but the drawing of one requires you to activate relational concepts that you might have difficulty putting into words until you can visualize them. Using drawings as a way of reviewing concepts and studying for exams, that's an effective learning technique. Learning the methods of physical chemistry problem solving requires deliberation and intentional practice, rather than memorization. Hopefully, this introduction to the book, Physical Chemistry, will help you develop the learning skills that allow you to master the field of physical chemistry.